Okay, well, I don't know if anybody's going to be watching, but go ahead and get started. Got a couple variant comics to do for Comic Books for Cancer. Um, and one of the things they're going to be doing, I think around August, they're going to do a Chadwick Boseman themed stream, or a themed auction. You can see this is Comic Books for Cancer. Comic book covers for cancer, sorry. And so I had them send me one of their available blanks for the Black Panther. And I'm going to do a tribute piece to Chadwick Boseman on this. Not sure if you can hear the music playing. If the music's too loud in the background, let me know. I've got music playing on the YouTube channel of Ben Sound. So this is the comic that's actually inside. But I wanted to do one that I don't want to do Black Panther because he's got the mask on. I don't want to do it with the mask off because I don't kind of like the way the suit looks without the mask. So I'm going to do the Chadwick when he goes into that kind of the afterlife or the dream realm or whatever it is where he sees his ancestors. He's got that white dashiki on with the lace patterns and stuff like that. So I thought that would be a nice thing to do. I pulled up my references. You guys are kind of on my right shoulder with the camera. So I didn't want to use any of the ones I saw from the movies. I like this face here. It's kind of, it's a lower angle, gives him that nobility, but he also looks kind of happy there. It's not so serious looking. So I figured I'd use that face. And then this is the dashiki. So I got the reference for the dashiki up. I guess I can let me put this full screen so you can see what the hell I'm talking about, huh? Sorry. Reach over. So again, this is the photo I'm looking at. So you can see it's a lower angle. Looks but he still looks kind of regal. And the dashiki is that complicated lace pattern. I'll probably use a gray Copic just to draw out the pattern. And then I just want this for kind of the reference on the background. I forget this is a touch screen. So I just want to have that so I know it's kind of the blues and the purples. It's just so I have that for reference later. Let me go back to the. So I'll start by just sketching it out. Hopefully I'll get through the sketching part, the layout, and the inks today. And then maybe I can do if depending how fast everything goes. I mean, I'm starting kind of late for a Sunday night. It's 7 o'clock here. So I don't know. I don't know if I get this done before I need to go to bed for work tomorrow, or at least get a good head start on it. But let's see. So we're gonna have, and then if you guys, hey Justin, long time no see. Justin, my horror comedy buddy, and I still want to do that horror stream with you. And we still need to do that, but when you're available. Oops. Sean, yeah. So what have you been up to lately, Justin? I saw your kind of, was it poets like motivational stuff when you were out on the boat? That's pretty cool. You do those regularly? Nice long neck. And the one thing is the reference, he's got a little bit fuller beard and hair than he does as Black Panther, as T'Challa. So I'll have to take some artistic license from the reference and narrow that down a bit. All right, Justin. We will, he says. Just trying to drop in my landmarks now. I'm not a portrait artist, but because of conventions and people, when you do commissions, people want to be in them or have people they know in them. Yeah, kind of like a got to be okay at portraits. Since he's looking up, normally the ears would be in line with the eyes, but since he's looking up, it shifts the ears down on the back of it. Why does that keep popping up? Oh, talking about the video, Justin. What? That wasn't you talking? Okay. So I think I got the ears too big. Down a bit. And then you follow the line across, you can see the nose, like the tip of the nose, is almost in line with the ears here. But because you're looking up at it, um, you get to see some of the nostrils up into the nose a bit. If you guys can see that, okay. Running the stream off my laptop again until I get a better desktop computer. This is an all-in-one computer that I'm using for the reference monitor. It's not strong enough to do the streams. I've tried doing the streams on it, and it doesn't want to play. Messages. This is Justin. Look up Justin Ord on Facebook. He's thinking about starting making mini sculptures of monster heads and busts. Okay. Cool. There's check out some of the other channels that do that kind of stuff, like Black Magic Crafts, stuff like that. Get some ideas for how to do it. I think Jazza, Draw with Jazza, has a channel dedicated to minis and sculptures that he does. So, I mean, not that you have to copy somebody else's, but just to see how other people are doing it. And just erase out the top ear where I put them too high initially. So I don't want to go off the wrong base. Ducey was here last time I streamed. Well, again. And Ducey and Justin, you guys might want to check each other out because he draws like horror stuff, and Justin makes horror stuff. And when I say that's a pretty broad statement, though, because he's doing the sculpture and the drawings and the been in movies about horror, So Justin's really into the horror stuff. You guys should check each other out. So I think you're on two different channels. So there's Dudesey's on Facebook. And Justin's on Dudesey's on YouTube. Justin's on Facebook. And he says he sells his miniatures already. So yeah, go check out his stuff. Get this eye pattern, but I'm not sure to come across. This particular angle gives them really big pupils. Right. And the brows are even higher. So like I said, I just want to kind of get the layout, and hopefully the ink's done tonight, and I can go in and do the coloring tomorrow or later on in the week when I'm so tired. It's been a long day. I had a comic jam earlier in the day, which is, a social get together. That was from before at Pearl Ridge Mall. And the cuts are going to come in. Sorry, I'm trying to remember to look over at the chat because it's on my laptop. Let's take a look at Justin's comments. He said, repurposed old alabaster bust. Yeah, I saw that though. The one where you took the kid and turned him into a kind of a skeleton kind of thing. Yeah. Pretty decent with the Dremel tool. So Justin does sculpture and Dudesey does drawing. You can check out Dudesey. So it's interesting that the two people in the chat tonight are both horror fans. By the way, if you're artist and you want a cause to give to, you can hook up with these people at Comic Book Covers for Cancer, and they have a pool of blanks they can send you. They just obviously they ask that you send them back, in a timely manner, and they do I want to say auctions every couple months. I only found out about them a little while ago myself. And I sent them some covers I already had drawn, some of my excess, and then I saw that they want to do a Chadwick Boseman themed auction, kind of an homage or tribute. I thought that would be a good thing to get it on. Need to get his eyes are very identifiable. We're gonna have to get those eyes tighter, or not tighter, but closer to his actual eyes. I'll have to erase out some lines to help me get there. He's almost got like sleepy eyes. I'm still talking about him in present tense. It's hard for me to still wrap my head around that. I still haven't gone back and watched Black Panther again since the news of Chadwick's death. Take out some of the construction lines just to help me see how it looks unblocked. Stop. Another Ben Sound playlist. Because no one's in the stream talking with me, I'd like to have music in my other ear. Just so I have some auditory stimuli. Okay, talk to you later, Justin. Have a good night. Justin's off to bed. Not surprising. He's like 5 or 6 hours behind me now. Okay, so got that. Go back to see. I'm going to come turn slightly. So we'll have to visualize where his muscles are going to be. Put the shoulder about here. And again, I'm going to be putting him in the white dashiki with the lace patterns on it. So. Let's see. We're doing some construction. We're doing like a kind of a classic bust, so I don't need to draw everything. I like to know where the muscles are going to sit underneath the shirt. He was one of these. He had a well-developed physique for Black Panther, but it wasn't puffy. It was. The hint of the shoulder, twirl. So that's about all I need for the torso rep. So I can see this is where the bulk of the shoulder is going to be, and the meat of the pectoral muscles. And the dashiki sits kind of loose. One thing when I use reference, I'm not trying to draw exactly. I like to use reference to get the idea and where the patterns and stuff go. But I don't like to draw exactly what I'm looking at. That just makes it tedious for me. I want to be able to have some artistic input into whatever I'm drawing. This is loose. Up to the point, see how it looks in. So he does wear it loose. Got to open right at the tip. Put that up. Change the marks. You can tell there's like some kind of connector underneath the collar here that keeps it clasped right about here. So I'm just putting that in for my own edification. And because it's not perfectly form fitting, I know the pectorals are there. It's going to just bend in like that. Let's start figuring out where the pattern's going to go. And by rotating them slightly, I don't have to worry about trying to make it perfectly asymmetrical. So it's just a little cheat for me, if you will. I'm not trying to draw the pattern exactly. I'm just trying to draw the major shapes of it. And I'm trying to imagine, the carrying lines across, so these should line up pretty close. Back to the base here, tighten up some lines. Back to the reference image that I wanted to use. Okay. So I'm looking at stuff like this. So it's even with also where it's actually overlapped on this one a little bit. Make sure these lines match up. And because he's looking up, we have this kind of curved eye line. I'm not looking up, but head is tilted up. Keep doing that. Be that way. Line up this a bit. So when you look at the nostril, they're almost look tilted in or even. I posted a drawing I did. Well, I posted on Twitter already, but there's a cosplayer and media host named Christina Ariel. And, she posted a picture last night of her as Captain America, and I just really like the look of it. So I asked her if she'd mind me drawing it or drawing a variation of it. So that'll go up. It's already up on Twitch, but it'll go up on Facebook and YouTube a little later after the stream. Just, even though I'm gonna ink it, I'm just kind of darkening these spots right now, just so I get a better idea of what it is I'm looking at. You gotta watch these upper lid folds. They don't come all the way back into the eye. Okay, computer, it's trying to piss me off, aren't you? lines aren't balanced. Still not balanced. I think I'm just going to have to start committing some ink down, force myself to commit to the lines. A little added pressure because you don't want to mess it up because you want to make a nice tribute piece. So the gold is pretty close to the eye there. Like I said, putting the lines down just kind of forces me to commit stuff. Otherwise, I agonize over it for longer and longer and longer and not get anything done. And if and when I get this piece done, well, not if, when I get this piece done, I have 3 other blanks for comic books for cover to do. And then once I have all of them done, I'll mail them off as a one package. And then, like I said, I think it's probably gonna be around August when they do the auction. So. Trying to figure out how I want to color this, whether I want to use watercolor or marker. I'm better with markers than I am with watercolors, but I want to use watercolors because they're more color fast. I want this piece to last. So we'll see. Like I said, the StreamYard URL, if anybody wants to hop in and actually chat with me, you type that into your browser and jump in with me. Otherwise, I'll sit here and try to talk, look over the chat every now and then. Pretty bad about it. I'm not a professional streamer by any means. Okay, can you see Chadwick in there? Look. Okay. It's real dark in here, but I've got to maintain a jawline. just using a real fine line pen for now. Um, I'm not too worried about having it look like real kind of wiry or anything right now, because it's gonna, once I add in a bunch of color on top of it, it's gonna knock back a lot of this. But it helps me see where everything's at right now. I should probably hold my wrist brace on because my hand's starting to tingle or go numb. Carpal tunnel, no joke. Anybody watch the Friends reunion? I admit I wasn't the biggest Friends fan, but I did enjoy the reunion. And I've obviously seen a lot of Friends episodes over the years, but just kind of cultural phenomenon. I don't watch much TV these days, though, so I don't know if I'd get swept up in something like that anymore. Ooh, 44 minutes already. I don't think I'm going to get to the color tonight. But hopefully I'll at least get the inking done. Or at least enough done that when I jump back into it, it'll be easier to figure out where I'm at. Oh, dang, that doesn't look like Chadwick Boseman. But I think once all the color and stuff is dropped in, it will look a lot more like Chadwick. Because the shading does a lot to help define the form. So, like, right here, there's a highlight on his lip. It doesn't really show up in the lines, and if I drew them in, one of the things, like, the more lines you put in to define the form, it makes the character older looking, or the person older. It ages them. So the more lines you use to define it, unless you're doing a style like Druna, where it's all crosshatch, you know. But generally, the more lines you put into a person's face, the more you're aging that person. I don't want to draw the crease here, the jowl crease, because it's actually light. It's defined by the light and shadow more than, like, if like I drew this one in, which I probably shouldn't have, but I'll work around that. But there's, like, additional folding underneath his eyebrows, that I could draw in, but it's going to be better if I color them. Still not really feeling this dashiki. Adjust my lines a bit on the dashiki. Get the resemblance, yeah. Well, that's just the basic outline too, though. I think Ducci's saying I got the resemblance on Chadwick, but so once you start throwing in the color, I think that'll really help it. But I appreciate that. You can tell who I'm going for, right? I'm not in the torso now. So let's just go. Let's try it again. I'm thinking it looks a little shallow. This is one of the things that, like, the people buy my artwork sometimes, unless they're watching me do it like you guys. I don't realize like the thought that goes into what I'm doing and how I may have changed my mind on something. And then the other thing, and this is one of the things that's good about streaming too, like if I mess up, you get to see that. And you watch me try to figure out how to work around it. And believe me, I will mess up. Okay, so again, one. I think one thing I probably shouldn't have done was to trim the torso a little too much. And I think that's why it made him too shallow or too sunken chested, kind of. So from there, about where the dashiki collar is going to go. And here's the other thing is I think that I had the collar kind of too loose. Again, right around the clavicle joint, there's something behind the dashiki, like a clasp that holds it shut. That's better. So giving kind of almost a priestly look, huh? Now I put this neckline down. So this is one of those instances where I'm going to have to try and cover this up. And because it's a light, really fine tip, I'll probably come in with an X-Acto layer, just scrape this down and then erase over it to get that line out of where I want it. I'm not going to do that until I got more inked in, so I can be sure that I want to get rid of it that way. Or to that point. Go back to the dashiki. So about where the clavicle joins in. in. I figure everybody's going to be drawing him in the Panther suit or whatever. So I figured the Shiki be a different look too. Four loops. So from stem comes out. So yeah, I'm trying to visualize to make sure there's some symmetry there, even though it's at a slight angle. Okay. Let's go take a look at the background real quick. So we'll have let's go do the long trees. I'm just kind of putting in a hint of that so I know kind of how I want to do it. Background mostly like abstract almost, but okay. And wash. Okay. So let's put in the lines for the cheeky. Put a hint of whatever this class thing is behind it. I don't want to ink in the pattern too much. Actually, I really don't want to ink it in at all. So do that. Yeah, I think that works. If I have a knife here with me, I probably have to bring a knife from work. Go upstairs. But here's what I would do because it's a tip pen, so it's not going to be soaked really deep into the paper. So I'll come with an X-Acto blade and scrape the top layer of ink off, and then use an eraser to smooth the paper back down. That's a fix I've been doing for a lot of years. But what I can do is Do I have my gray Copics here? I have the warm gray. I have the cool gray. Warm gray, warm gray, warm gray. Cool gray, cool gray. Let me just check and make sure I'm thinking properly here. That's the cool gray. And then the dashiki pattern is actually gray, even though most of the time you see it, it's in this bluish purple cast, so it kind of color shifts, but it's actually gray. So I'm going to use this to draw in the patterns of the dashiki. But let me go back to the pencil first and map out some stuff here because I want to get this spiraling figure 8 pattern across the collar. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give myself some landmarks to make sure the loops are about the same spot. So what I mean by that is I want the top of the loops to fit in an area, bottom of the loops to fit within a certain area. The guidelines can always be erased out when we're done. Okay, so if we start from the middle, come up and make a loop, it's going to go into this bottom and match that. So you see why I did the lines there, construction lines, to make those loops controllable. And now I can come into gray and go over that pencil line I just made. Now that I know my idea is right, or sound. And one nice thing, because of the way this loop pattern worked out, that line in the neck that I messed up earlier, I won't have to erase out very much of it at all because it's kind of falls right in that pattern. All right, so we do the same thing. We're going to start from the center. Remember my pattern here. Okay. Whoops. It looks like it's designed to look like continuous when it's buttoned up. But I guess I can go back and do that again. I have to start the downstroke instead of an upstroke. So I don't know if you saw what I just did there, but couldn't continue the stroke. So I made sure I stopped at a point where I could pick it back up without it being like noticeable if I was slightly off. Okay, so that's that. We can these lines in. This is where it gets fun. Go ahead and put in the circle. I'm trying to leave a little spot right there from what I can see. And then I'm going to use this pin to make the lines, but then I have a gray Copic pin that I'm going to go back over with to make them thicker because it's embroidered, so it has some thickness to it, and it's also raised from the surface. It's not just a line on the surface. So I'm going to use the brush pen to give it some thickness once I have it in place. So we have in the center. Just thinking on this side, so I'm thinking okay. I'm looking at the pattern on screen right now. These legs appear to go down more. It'll just be an optical illusion created by the angle. We'll start off from the center. Come down here. So we'll start off from there. Okay. So something like that. Now, an artist friend of mine, Canilla Tripp, who's worked as a professional colorist in comics, was the one that really kind of drove home just committing to the line. So I used to be one of those guys that would do short strokes, and now that I watch people do it, where you see people like inking with short strokes, it bugs me. Just commit to the line. This is one of the things, just commit to it. Even if it's a little off from your big line art, it's going to look like a much nicer, clean line to look at, I think. A personal opinion, but this is something Canilla Tripp taught me, and I tend to agree with this assessment that it looks better. Now, let's see. We've got layer. I'm just turning this so that I can do this angle and also see the line where it needs to be. Okay. And they have these little knobs. And I'm just going to kind of randomly eyeball where they go. Okay, and the brush will hit there. I'm going to imaginary count 1, 2, so the next one should be right about here. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. If 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So we want to have the same number of dots. So the dot's going to start there. And make sure that we're mapping across the chest. And I normally wouldn't do this. I'm just, since I'm explaining what I'm doing, I'm drawing out my thought process. I would just eyeball it normally, but just try to make sure that I'm matched up to the other side. Explaining what I'm doing as I go. Okay, do the same thing along this arc pattern here. So like 3 of these in this space. Back up. And 4 along this edge. 4, 5, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to see the ones on the 5 on that side because it continues up there. Okay. So now there's an inset pattern. So, and I'm going to have to get a better resolution in of the dashiki in general, but we will go ahead and do this. I can't really tell what the patterning is inside. It's hard to see. Pretty sure that these are just spirals. Well, let's see if we can find a better image of the Black Panther dashiki. It's like a high-res image. Do a little search. How you guys doing? Am I boring you to death yet? Black Panther dashiki. This size. We got a good picture of the black one. I think see if this one's any clearer. It's a screen capture from a video, and that's probably why I can't see the pattern. Let's see what this one looks like. It's the same image, but I was hoping it was sharper. This one. 1060 by 1060 minutes of video. I might be out of luck. Oh. Shoot. There we go. Hour and 13 minutes. No, I'm going to stop at 9 either way. I don't think I have the energy to do a 3-hour stream. Well, I'm just going to have to fake it, I guess. Because I really can't tell what the patterns are supposed to be. But what I can do, let's see if I can find my Copic gray brush. I hope I still have it. Now I'll have to pick one up tomorrow. So, Copic gray. It's the same color, but it's a brush pen. So, What was we here? Did anybody watch Cruella yet? You watched Cruella. Tell me what you thought of it. I don't generally like movies about villains, but I enjoyed Cruella de Vil. What does that say about me? So, since I can't tell exactly what the patterns are supposed to be, I'm just going to wing it. There's pencil lines here I no longer need. So we'll just start in the middle. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this pattern is just a spiral out. But doing it the same way, I know it's probably hard to see in the camera, but you can see the strokes going circular, so that helps it sell that shape without drawing in all the small threads. Now it's probably a little more obvious, I don't know. Yeah. I think my system's getting tired. I'm going to minimize and maximize this just to see if it helps. What I think I'm going to do is change the resolution back and forth. I don't know why the computer does that. Where the video quality just kind of gets worse over time. Okay. But there, now can you see the strokes in there? Okay. I'm going to brush on this edge. It's that other instance again where you just commit to the line, commit to the line. Don't sit there and overthink it. She doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. Can't tell what it's going to be, but there is a lighter area here, so I'm going to use the brake and this. Just can't tell what it is, but I know there's something there that's lighter than the rest of the pattern. So I'll just do it that way. I'm going to have the same thing come up this way. I kind of blocked it in over here. Can't tell, but see there's kind of a cord of material coming down with some kind of pattern, but I can't tell what the pattern is. So similar to what we did there, we'll make that negative space. And then instead of just doing lines, I'm going to do a kind of a zigzag pattern. Just to, because that gives you that kind of embroidered look, that zigzag. Even though I can't tell you what it's supposed to be. But it gives it that hint of detail too, you know. Okay. Watch the video. Maybe you can see something in the video. Okay. Well, just wing it the best I can. Go back to that photo. Block and attack my malicious site. Interest? I can tell what the pattern is. It's just kind of lumpy stuff. Now this I can see like there's a braid pattern to it. So I can take that. Do you use kneaded erasers? I use kneaded and regular ones. So I do have a kneaded eraser, but I also have just magic rub erasers. All right. So I can't tell exactly what this would be, but you can tell there's 3 tiers, so you can do it like that just to give it the hint of the 3 tiers. And then we can come in with white to add in patterns too. I want to say it's kind of this all the way down. There's probably some kind of weave pattern combined with it. So after I do this across the horizontals, come in and add some verticals. I'm not going to make them solid verticals. Again, we're creating that hint of pattern without actually drawing the pattern. I'm just going to darken in the hair and probably call it a night. See if I feel like recording the remaining process or whether I just do it offline. I don't know. But I do want to try and stream at least once a week, and I knew I had this project I had to work on. So. What I'd like to do is find some other artists to stream with me. If anybody watches the Drink and Drop, I get a rotating group of 3 or 4 artists and just pick a different subject each week and draw something. I think that would be ideal. All right, I'm going to erase out some pencils and call it a night, I think. think about how I want to color this, how I want to fix that neck. Some decisions to make between now and the next time I work on this. All right. Call that a night, I think. Thanks for watching. And that's an hour and a half. Call it a day. Okay. Well, have a good night.